Let's see what obscure stuff you guys sent me this month. Alright, first up is Pincer Consortium with Tandemic Dispersal. Step a little bit. Another lengthy composition. Covered quite a few of these on the channel so far. These guys are more of like a progressive death metal-ish project, but much more than that. More cool artwork. Last time we did Schizoid Rivalry, which was great. And again, if you're new to this segment, this is just supposed to give you a little taste so that you get curious enough to check these out on your own. Big build up there. Loving the drums. Lots of texturing on that. Oh yeah. Yeah, this sounds pretty sick. Love the production as always too, that big echoing cavernous sounds. These kind of spiraling guitars. Very dramatic. In a way, the songwriting reminds me a bit of structurally Tool. And even like some of the just the aesthetic, but obviously with a much heavier death metal twist. But just something about certain elements of it definitely remind me of that. Super heavy. It's just like one continuous build, and it's so good. Again, another great example of people misunderstand me when I say like this band should cut their song lengths down, yada yada. It's like, oh, he only likes short songs. No, if you're gonna write a 10-minute song, write it like these guys. Like this is all I ask for. Like actually do something with the length. Like nothing seems like it even happens more than once. It's constantly maturing and developing into something. But yeah. Love these guys. Pincer Consortium, Tandemic Dispersal. Check it out. Alright, next up is Vasterien with Cadaveric, Fauna, and Derealization. This little 2-track thing going on here. Brazilian project. Black and death metal and doom metal in the tags. Misanthropy in the tags. I like that. Like the drums. Cymbals could use a little bit more in the mix. Feel a little drowned out, maybe a little compressed. I like this cover art. I also love these more like painted style covers. Okay, pace change here. Here's the more black metal elements. A little bit of like tribulation in there too. That kind of like vampire rock vibe. I do worry that there might be some issues with repetition on this, but then again with this genre, that's kind of what some people seem to enjoy about it. I like this more melodic lead on the guitar too. Kind of like a post-black vibe there. Cool, let's check out the second song. A little doomier vibe on this one. Definitely got that kind of like evil vibe to it. Can't go wrong with that. Oh, okay. We got some clean vocals here. That's interesting. This is almost like a 90s, like, kind of alternative vibe to that. Interesting. It's different. Again, that's what I love about this segment. I always discover stuff that's a little bit out there. Sometimes they become new favorites. Yeah, sounds pretty good. Like, I think there's like a unique element to it that you can build on. Be curious to hear more tracks in the future. I like that this track is a little bit more of a standard runtime. It seems a little bit more fitting. But yeah, I'll be curious. I think continue to lean into these more kind of unique and weird elements that you don't hear on a lot of other Blackened releases. But yeah, that is Vasterien with Cadaveric Fauna and Derealization. Alright, we've got Derrame or Derrame with Unveiling Pain. It's out of Portugal. So I'm gonna guess it's Derrame. Okay, more kind of standard death metal. Logo clearly inspired by Obituary. Yeah, death metal. They're going pretty raw here. Looks like they also have a release from 2014. Okay. I think there's standard sort of a basement dwelling old school death metal. Boy, that bass tone's interesting. That sounds so weird. It's a choice. I don't know. It's interesting. I can't decide if I like it or not. I've definitely never heard a bass sound quite like that. Yeah, as for the songs themselves, it does feel very typical. It's solid. I mean, if you're just shooting for kind of a meat and potatoes death metal release, you're hitting on it. There's advances you can make with the production, but I just think, good. Some little transitions here too. Yeah, it seems fine. I'm just not getting that sense of personality. Kind of like what I was saying on that last album, like there was something unique about it. This I could see kind of getting lost in the shuffle. So I'm not particularly like, if I'm just giving really straightforward feedback, I'm not super impressed by it, but I think there's a good foundation you can build on here. And again, of course, this is just me kind of stumbling my way through it. So you all check it out and see what you think too. But yeah, that is Derrame with Unveiling Pain. Alright, we have Agarwaen with Channel Lunacy of Finland. With a shift in style here. Cult, melodic black metal, cult metal, dark metal. Album cover, a little corny, I don't know. Wait, is it on channel 69? Oh, come on now. Come on now. Okay. I like the multi-vocal approach. That's cool. A little bit of like tinge of like industrial and dare I say new metal in there too. There's mild elements of this that, and please don't take this as an insult, some people would, but I like that music, but dang it, what's the name of that band with the masks that do kind of more of a Faith No More sort of style? I'm blanking. Mushroomhead, that's what I was thinking of. But obviously with more kind of a black metal twist to it. But it's kind of funny, if you like mashed up like symphonic black metal with Mushroomhead, that's the vibe I'm getting. And again, that's not an insult, in a way that's a compliment, because I don't think I've ever described another band that way. I like the black metal vocals with the kind of more diverse instrumentation. And I'm a fan of all things symphonic, really. Like, I'm just a sucker for adding brass and strings to metal. Cool little synth line here too. Yeah, it seems pretty cool. I like this. It's different. That riff reminds me of something too. Vocals on these moments can be a little hit and miss, but again, as somebody who really came up out of kind of weirder nu metal stuff initially, I dig it. I dig it. So yeah, that is Agarwaen with Channel Lunacy. Alright, we have You Matter Part 2 from various artists. From Ripcord Records. So it looks like this one has a whole bunch of stuff on it. And it's Name Your Own Price. So that's always cool. Oh, I know Moro. Moro's great. Moro's great, like, post-metal, sludge, progressive stuff. I've heard Coil Guns before, too. Yeah, I wonder if a lot of this stuff is going to be kind of in that sort of post-metal-y vibe. Slow Ends I'm not really familiar with yet. Oh man, my songs. 101 songs. My goodness. Oh, I know OVO too. Good driving beat on that one. Yeah, obviously we're not going to be able to sample all these. Caranair I'm somewhat familiar with. Oh, Lower Automation is great. I've covered them in previous videos. They're kind of more like noise rock, noise metal stuff, mathcore. What else? Check here. Divided, The Moth, Chalk Hands. Yeah, lots of stuff on here. So yeah, if you want to just grab yourself 100 songs, many of which you're probably not familiar with, then definitely pick up this compilation. Alright, we've got Shinagawalove with Vortex out of Ukraine. Creepy. Love it. Like the album cover too. What are we doing? Love, Death, and Fleur since 2022. Atmospheric black metal. It's more of an intro, I think. Oh, it's that kind of moody, droney style. Kind of depressive, too. Oh, we got a little, like, accordion in there. I like that. Little clean vocals, too. Little mopey for my taste. I tend to I gravitate towards the more either aggressive black metal or weird black metal. Those are kind of the territories I like to play around with the most. Let's see if the whole album's like that. I mean, it's definitely successful in bringing that mopey tone, because, like, I listen to music like this, and part of the reason I don't is it makes me depressed. And I'm like, life's kind of depressing enough. Not all the time, of course, but I like to be happy or, like pumped. But I suppose people listen to this for the same reason I like to watch movies like Requiem for a Dream and stuff like that. That kind of misery art. It's well constructed for what it is. I think the production's pretty solid. Cymbals sound pretty washed out and compressed, so that could be better. I like how they're implementing these clean vocals. Overall, pretty solid. Yeah, if somebody was like, hey, I need some really depressing, moody, atmospheric black metal, I'd have no problem recommending this. So that is Shinagawa Love, if I'm getting that even close to correct, with Vortex. Alright, we've got Nicarus with Sipapu Golden Buddha out of Israel. Pretty rare that we get projects out of Israel. Post-metal, post-rock. Now, is this like a solo artist? Looks like it from the picture. Getting the Cure vibes from the guitar on this one. Oh! Okay. And we transition from that to this more kind of like almost Latin sounding, kind of funky stuff going on here. Speaking of brass, digging that. And then back into the kind of Cure sound. Seems cool. Check out another track. This is more like music that takes you on a journey. Got changed there. I'm usually against whisper vocals, but sometimes they can work. Yeah, more moody kind of music. Goddamn Unicorns. It's a great song title. Yeah, a little bit jazzy, very post-metal. Okay, we do have some vocals. It's not all instrumental. Very pretty. Good stuff I would put on while I'm like doing some work. Need some kind of mood music that's engrossing but not distracting. A little slide on there. Good voice too. Another one too, this sort of reminds me of the few vocally driven, like there's a track on the Silent Hill 3 soundtrack. This kind of gives me that vibe. Especially with the kind of Portishead sounding drums. Very cool. Yeah, that is Nicarus with Sipapu Golden Buddha. Alright, we have Noorag with Fossils out of Italy. I don't think we've had a repeat yet. It's always fun. Going a little more bluesy. Sludgy and groovy multivitamin instrumental baritone riffs from a futuristic lost my spot. Post-atomic neuragic civilization. One-man band. Interesting. I like the vibe. Ooh. That's a chunky riff right there. I like that. Nice driving rhythm too. Yeah, there's a lot of attitude in these riffs too. This is music I'd picture playing in like a Rob Zombie strip club or something. In one of his movies. In some like hole in the wall, middle of the desert venue. Cochlea stone. I like the bass too. Yeah, just a very kind of like sun-swept, like music that gives you like a sunburn. I don't know how else to describe it. Just that like desert aesthetic. Makes me also think of stuff like Caius. Yeah, more good stuff for like putting on the background, doing some work too. That's what I tend to do with instrumental stuff. I dig it. A little bit of clutch in there too. But yeah, that's Noorag with Fossils. Alright, we've got Pestilength with Basom Gryphos. And actually, these guys are a little bit more known than the other bands on this list, I would say. It's still pretty underground. Love this album cover, by the way. I'm mainly covering this here just because there was so much in March. And I just couldn't get to it all. But I've always been a fan of this guy. Like these guys more kind of like tunneling, cavernous sort of death metal if you like stuff like Abyssal, Portal, things of that nature. It's very grimy and dark and gross and kind of swampy in a way too. Great drumming too. Yeah, that's very Portal right there. And they're also out of Spain. Also, what's that other band I like in this style out of Spain? Can't think of them right now. Maybe it'll come to me. But yeah, these guys are really good. Always a fan. Any other month where I had a little bit more room in my best of list, I probably would have covered this, but there's just too much music, y'all. And I guess that's something I should be thankful for. But yeah, that is Pastel Length with Basom Gryphos. Alright, we have Metasphaera with Metasphaera out of Germany. Oh, that bass. Progressive metal. Sounds pretty cool. Speaking of Portal, the song is called Portal. Reminds me of stuff like Obscura so far. Fretless bass. And they are, yeah, being out of Germany, I guess that's a potentially apt comparison. Also, anything from Hans Grossman. That man, I wouldn't be surprised if I looked out of the credits and find out he's on this project. No. Johannes Cox. Yeah, this is my shit right here. More of a Cannibal Corpse vocal on that part. Yeah, good shifts. Again, if you're writing longer songs, this is what I'm looking for. Change. Progression. Evolution. That sounds super rad. When did this come out? Also in March. Yeah, see, another album probably worthy of a best of list. Yeah, this sounds pretty sick. Cool transitions, vocals are great. Production's pretty solid. Could maybe be a little bit better, but yeah, we got the wild soloing too. Yeah, lots of Obscura and Alkaloid vibes. You could also say things like the Faceless, Necrophagist. The bass tone is pretty nuts. Lots of great performances. Guitar work is awesome. Drumming is sick. I like the layering of the vocals. Yeah, this is right up my alley right here. It's totally... Oh, we got a couple longer songs. Oh, okay, so we got the instrumental version slower down too. Yeah, this is the longest song, it looks like. Yeah, seems like a relatively brisk listen. It's only 8 tracks, even though they're on the longer side. This is how it's done, y'all. I'm not going to tell these guys to cut their song lengths down, most likely. Cool. Yeah, that is Metasphaera with Metasphaera. Alright, we have Liquorworks with Parasitus Apparatus. Parasitus Apparatus out of Finland. Ooh, some industrial. Okay. Berserk mode activated. Extreme metal, fusion rock, progressive metal, instrumental gent. Okay. Bit of like Fear Factory in here too. Kind of modern Fear Factory sound. What's this picture? Great bad. A little subtle piano in there, that's cool. Okay, I'm hearing the more kind of progressive side now. Is this also instrumental, or...? Yeah, it is. A lot of instrumental today. Not complaining, but it's just unusual for me to get quite so many in one go. Yeah, this sounds really sick. A little bit of Mendel from Aborted does a lot of solo stuff on Bandcamp, and kind of reminds me a bit of that. Skull Shredder. Great track titles. It is shredding. Good dynamics, sounds like. Not just going at 11 the entire time. Ooh. I don't know if you can hear those chorals, but that's great. That's eerie as fuck. I love that. That's awesome. Yeah, this sounds really cool. A lot of good picks today from the instrumental realm. This might be my favorite so far of that ilk, though. Ooh, that was a fun little kind of whimsical piano there. Yeah, every track feels a little bit different, which I also appreciate. I think that's really wise, especially for an instrumental project too, because otherwise things can get dull kind of fast. Yeah, all these sound like almost different genres. And another case too where the instruments seem to do like more than enough talking where you don't need the vocals. Very Meshuggah-y track here. Yeah, this sounds great. This sounds really awesome. I'm impressed yet again. More awesome stuff. Also came out in March. March was a crazy month, y'all. And it hasn't been slowing down. April's been crazy too. May's got a lot of stuff coming. Yeah, that is Liquorworks with Parasitus Apparatus. All right, we've got Agarwaen with Hell on Earth out of Spain. Back to Spain. Nice little devil cover. More black metal vibes on this one. Heavy as metal, raw as punk since 2018. Black metal blackens. I hear those punkier elements too. Solid atmosphere. A little grimy, a little grody. A little bluesy. I'd call it like dirtbag black metal. Good punky beats too. Another one I'd say a little bit of mild tribulation vibes to it, even though they're going for kind of a heavier, dirtier sound, I feel like. Chaos Priestesses. Cool little melodic hook on here too. Okay, yeah, we got the crustier part here. Bringing the D beats. That's my stuff right there. A little bit of Motorhead in there. Just a touch. Yeah, sounds pretty rad. That is Agarwaen with Hell on Earth. Alright, we have Flucht with Darkness Devour. In Norway. More black metal, it sounds like. More devil artwork, different style. Black metal, Norwegian black metal. Simple enough. Yeah, pretty traditional second wave sounding stuff. Kind of in that more Mayhem, Dark Throne kind of camp. Maybe some like Satyricon in there. Some dynamics. Like that bass tone. Always nice to hear some bass in black metal. Sometimes it gets left out. A little bit of dynamics in the songwriting. I like that. A couple pace changes here. Keep things interesting. Song lengths aren't overly ambitious, seems like, except for this last one. I'll be curious to check that out. A good, more kind of Blizzard-like guitar work on this one. Ooh. This little melodic kind of dissection-y riff there. Yeah, sounds pretty good. You can tell it's hard for me to talk about like really traditional black metal because it's like you say the same 3 things over and over again. But yeah, putting it simply, I mean, it just seems like this is nailing exactly what it's going for. I'm not sure I would change anything based on what I'm hearing anyways. I'm curious about this. Ooh, I like that riff. It's a little more immortal kind of sound on that one. Check out this longer one. Okay, we're going for the more mopey, depressive vibe on this one, but is it that all the way through? Is the question. Well, we got a little bit of a build. Okay, pace picks up around halfway. Okay, then we get kind of a head bobber portion. Oh, it builds up. Okay, so again, this is what I'm talking about. Like, keep things changing. If it was just that same thing for the entire song, I'd be like, nah. Nah, that ain't it. But I'd have to actually sit and listen to it all the way through to see how the pacing works out, but it seems more interesting than what I might have expected. Yes, sounds pretty rad. That is Flucht with Darkness Devour. Alright, we have Neverus with Burdens of the Earth out of Eindhoven, Netherlands. Sounds like more progressive stuff here. Clean singing this time. Maybe more... Oh, there's some arch mixed in too, though. What are the tags here? Epic metal, majestic death metal. Okay. More symphonic, dramatic stuff. Sounds great. Interesting face paint. Okay. Love the cover. Big triumphant guitars. Reminds me of Death Clock. Yeah, lots of good picks today. I'm digging this a lot. Production's awesome. It's like a union of like a lot of my favorite elements here. Great use of strings and synth. This sounds wicked. Let's check out another one here. Oh, folky too. God, this month has been just full of so much good underground stuff. Got me bobbing my head. Yeah, this just sounds fun. It's just kind of like folky elements. Awesome performances all around. Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to download this one, spend a bit more time with it. Check out one more here. Ooh, the blast beat coming through hard with that big triumphant guitar. Ooh. Man, guitar is just cooking it up on here. This is great. I gotta say, this may be my favorite of the batch, at least so far. We got a few more left. Yeah, that's awesome. Loving this. That is Neverus with Burdens of the Earth. Alright, we have Tyr with Awaiting the Dawn out of Australia. Sydney, to be exact. Or the... Okay, another one where the record label is from Sydney. The band. This is Neofolk Dungeon Synth. This also says Sydney, but unsure. Okay, something a little softer after all that. Very chill. More good kind of like background music, or even like, I could see this as like video game soundtrack music too. Peaceful cover. Check out what else you got here. Yeah, mostly more acoustic stuff. Like the nature noises. Very peaceful. And more kind of like relaxing music in between the insane chaos I usually find my earphones playing. It's even got some like bird noises. Yeah, well done. Pretty chill. Not my favorite style in the world, but something I like to dabble with every now and then. Yeah, very chill. That is Tier with Awaiting the Dawn. Alright, next up we have Kuzozu with Weak Foals Roaming. This is a project, a new project, from friend of the channel, Alex Arrow, who we featured with his work with Grind of the Dead. And you can even check out an episode I did with him of like best grindcore albums. But this is his new dark melodic hardcore project from New England. So very cool so far. Definitely very different from Grind of the Dead, which is more of a like just straight heavy raw grindcore project. You may have seen me wearing the t-shirt. Love the vocals. Alex sounded great as usual. But I actually like how his vocals are kind of interacting with this kind of more melodic instrumentation. Good kind of gang vocals there too. And this is their debut EP that just dropped late this month. Like that track, that's Map Burner. Got some more kind of atmospheric elements here, it seems like. Digging on that. It's reminded me of something, but I can't quite put my finger on it. There's definitely a little bit of like Converge in the DNA, with that kind of contrast to the really gnarly vocals with the more kind of like mournful sounding instrumentation. So big ups for that. Big Converge fan, obviously. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Like good contrast of harsh and melodic. Drums sound really great too. Overall production sounds just really tight in general. It's like really clean, but it's still got enough edge to it. Doesn't sound too glossy. But all the instruments coming through really strong. Ooh. Still got those head bobber sections too. That bass rumble is nice too. Yeah, I really like this. Yeah, more great bass here. I'm gonna have to hold on to this one. Definitely worth checking this one out all the way through. Unfortunately, it's been such a packed April, and May's looking to be pretty intense too, as far as coverage, but yeah, I'm really digging this. This is really cool. So yeah, just giving you a little taste as usual. That is Kuzozu with Weak Foals Roaming. We have Vera Salber with Frankincense and Vitriol. Fun name there. These guys out of Ireland. So we got some more pretty gnarly, raw black metal that very kind of echoey, reverb-soaked production. Love this album cover. Very detailed, very mystical, magical, D&D vibe type stuff. And fitting, I do get, again, some of that kind of, like, more atmosphere of stuff like Dark Medieval Times kind of vibe from this one. Long song titles, too. The Citadel awakens to the gaze of an incensed god. Sounds pretty rad. Another good mix of, like, aggression, but with atmosphere. I do get the sense that it's kind of telling a story, too. Some good dynamics here. Some even, like, ambient elements. It's like you can hear the water trickling through the stones of the castle or whatever. Yeah, more kind of mournful, sorrowful melody here. Yeah, it sounds pretty awesome. I'm interested in some of the red spells of the Scheherazade. Is that like a character? I'm not up on my lore, y'all. I'm in my first D&D campaign, and we only meet pretty inconsistently, so we've only done it, what, like 3 sessions now, I think? It's fun, though. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'm really digging this. This is, again, that sort of old-school second wave sound done right, and just the way I like it, but good balance of a lot of different elements. So yeah, good job, like that. That is Vera Salber with Frankincense and Vitriol. And we have Fleur Rouge with Larmes, or Larmes, out of India. Another cool album cover here. It's like, it reminds me also of, there's that painting of, what's the character from Hamlet who drowns herself? Is that Ophelia? It's like a famous painting of that. Kind of reminds me of more like an overhead close-up shot of that. Post-black metal. Good kind of segue from that last one, actually, because even though this is more sort of second wave, classic black metal, I feel like this adopts a lot of similar ideas, both in the production, the songwriting, the overall mood, but takes it to that extra level of kind of those, like, post-metal elements. I do feel like the guitar and vocals could be just a little bit louder, just like even a notch. Like, not too much, because I get what you're going for here, and I don't want to ruin it. But I do feel like the, like, synth and piano stuff is comparatively loud. But I'm a fan of this style when it's captured just right. Like, there's this sort of, like, weird kind of like chasm quality to it. Like you're falling into something, but it's like something beautiful. Yeah, the drums and guitar are so quiet. So again, just a little adjustments with the volume mixing, I think could go a long way. But I like the overall kind of vibe. And I really like that synth and piano. Got some cool clean singing too. Very tranquil. A good example of, this is the type of stuff I have kind of newbie black metal listeners check out as a gateway to sort of prove that, like, you know, black metal, even though it's raw by design, it can be quite meditative, peaceful even, in a strange way. There's even that, like, yoga black metal. Very chill. Good for, like, thinking and studying, too, I would say. Yeah, I really dig it. I think based on what I'm kind of skipping through here, I like everything about it except for some mild adjustments to the volume mixing, which I would think would be an easy enough thing to experiment with. But that is Fleur Rouge with Larms. Then we have Dim Wind with The Futility of Breathing out of Gothenburg, Sweden. Capital of melodic death metal, but this is an instrumental post-metal project. Kind of mysterious album cover. I like the color contrast on that. Good early engagement already. That was first track too. Instrumental projects, when done right, I am absolutely in love with. I mentioned a few times there. Were some in Chicago I love. Like Russian Circles. Let the instruments do the talking. This seems to have a similar vibe to some of those bands I really liked too. It got me bobbing my head, moving already. Just those, the beat and the bass line, the guitars, the way it's all kind of coming together here. Well orchestrated, well composed. We strive to provoke both reflection and empowerment. I like that. There's a little, if you're listening with headphones, there's a little pan that happens with the guitar there that's kind of cool too. With a like really mild like wah effect, I think it was. You know, I think I may have covered some of their previous work now I'm thinking about it. The Slow Wave Violence in particular, that album cover looks very familiar. And that was just 2 years ago. Dimwind, just the name sounds familiar too. It's hard to keep track of all these bands that I've previously covered because if you're a fan of the channel, which by the way, subscribe if you haven't, because I do one of these every month and then tons of videos, at least 2 a week in between. But I cover so much stuff that it's just impossible to remember everything. I've even, in the past, I've reviewed things twice without realizing it, both in written form and on video. So you just have to forgive me. But yeah, this sounds great. More awesome dynamics. Love this drumming. This little change here for this more kind of chill, sort of jazzy with the little the like rim hits and stuff. I used to drum. I know things. I know what things are. I know terms. It's been a long time. Long time since I played drums. I was never particularly great. Love this bass guitar. Like everyone in this band sounds good. I only see 2 people in the photo, but I feel like I'm hearing drums, bass, and guitar. So I don't know if they're just more of a recording band and they do it all and not necessarily live. Love the kind of just like driving nature. There's like this tension in this song, and it's funny because there's no vocals, there's no lyrics, but I just get this sense of kind of impending dread, which is the mark to me of a really great just songwriter in general, but particularly that's some spoken word in here. But even without that, like, they're able to convey their emotion and even potentially storytelling just through the instrumentation, which goes all the way back to like classical music. Like, that's what it was all about. Love the texture on display here too, across all the instruments. This sounds fantastic. Really love this. Great work, y'all. Nothing I would change. Definitely check out Dimwind with The Futility of Breathing. Then we have Sumen with Mors Serda out of Germany. Back for some death metal. Okay, melodic death metal. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, that's fun. Digging those riffs. I'm down like a clown. Charlie Brown. I feel like there's some adjustments that could be made to the production and mixing. But overall, digging the riffs, with these little pace changes, vocals sound good. I'm always biased when it comes to melodic death metal though. There's just something about melodeath, especially that like Swedish style riffing, that just gets me. It just gets me. It just works for me. It's like hardwired into my DNA for whatever reason. I do have some Scandinavian ancestry, so maybe there's something there, I don't know. And some German background too. That sounds pretty cool. I'd compare this to kind of like earlier Arch Enemy. It's the strongest vibe I'm probably getting. With stronger vocals, though, I would say. That's an imposing growl you got there. Maybe a little bit of like the Haunted in there too. I could say a little At the Gates. I mean more of the Haunted though. These kind of like groovy chugs. It's very the Haunted. Vocals though kind of remind me of Ackerfelt's from the harsh vocals on Opeth. Kind of a similar tonality and quality to it. That deepness. Ackerfelt's one of my favorite screamers overall, like his, and clean singers too, but like his death growls are just so like deep and imposing. Like him and the guy from Septic Flesh have like two of my favorite just like deep death growls. Yeah, this has great energy to it. There's a little thrashiness to it as well. Love these melodies, these kind of harmonies. A little doomy quality to this one too. It's another one I could definitely see myself spending a lot more time with, and any other time where I wasn't just overloaded with amazing releases. Like I could potentially see this as something that could end up on like a best of the month list, but maybe I'll throw it in the like Melodeath albums list for the end of the year or something if it speaks to me. But yeah, that is Suman with Mors Serdar. Then we have Cicada the Burrower with Blight Witch Regalia. This one's actually been sitting in my queue for a while, but is just coming out this month, or April. Interesting. Out of Madison, Wisconsin. One of our few US releases. Oh, and you know what? We previously covered Corpse Flower, which I love that album cover too. I forget what these... the description. Black metal, death metal, drum and bass, jazz, progressive, post-hardcore, psychedelic, trip-hop. Yeah, I recall them being kind of all over the spectrum here, depending on the track. More chill. Very personal sounding music, and that comes through if you read the bio and stuff too. Ah, FFO, Old Nick Liturgy, and Over. I can definitely hear those influences coming through. I think it's a one-person project. I'm glad that you have never felt more alive. That's fantastic. Yeah, Cameron Davis is the sole musician here, it seems like. Yeah, it is interesting when they mix in the kind of like raw black metal elements. Yeah, that's unique. Talk about unique. Like, just different. And we got some more aggressive stuff still. But mixed with this kind of like almost video game music sounding synth stuff. Yeah, if you want something just totally different, but also incredibly enjoyable, I always like recommending this project. I'm glad they circled back around after Corpse Flower. I mean, just sampling this, I feel like I might even like this one better than Corpse Flower, but I'd have to revisit it. Yeah, great kind of contradictions in terms of the music, which seems fitting in a way. But yeah, that is Cicada the Borrower with Blight Witch Regalia. Next up we have Drone Spell and the Omega Chord with Sorcery Anomalies. This is a French project. Oh, it's a label. My bad. It's a French, Spanish label. The band, I'm not positive about. A lot of ambient elements here. Kind of a slow burn. But another way you can go with a longer song too. Like, this isn't just going to be the same verse-chorus stuff over and over again. I mean, with the name Drone Spell, I'm guessing this is going to be a largely drone and ambient album. Very eerie. More of that kind of what I describe as sort of Silent Hill music. Oh yeah, and we've even got a little bit of a beat going here too. Yeah, good atmosphere. Again, things constantly changing and adjusting. Drone isn't my, like, favorite genre by any means, but it's a good palate cleanser. Like that. That's cool. Yeah, every track's a little bit different. You got some strings on this one. I like how they're utilizing the drums. This almost reminds me of like a Radiohead, like kind of Kid A, Amnesiac era Radiohead. Yeah, cool. If you're looking for some drone and ambient, check out Drone Spell and the Omega Chord with Sorcery Anomalies. Alright, y'all, I think that's plenty for this week. Be sure to check some of these out. Also, I have a Patreon. If you want to support me at that level, you get early access to videos. I put out at least 2 videos every week, sometimes 3. But just thank you for watching, especially this segment, and supporting. Especially support your underground. Go out, buy some of these albums. Throw your support their way. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.